Welcome back to the class, everyone. As you just saw there in the intro, we do have bonus drops confirmed for Galaxy of Heroes here in a couple of days. And while that within itself is really awesome, what can be even more awesome is hoarding our energy in the days leading up to maximize our return. So before we dig into the exact numbers of energy you need and when you need them by and what energies you really should even be doing that with in general, I do want to go over this concept of hoarding very quickly. So again, we do have bonus drops coming up. They will offer you first characters, and if you already have those characters, you will start to unlock these other Chirotech, Zeta, or Omegas depending on the energy. Now, one of the ways to maximize this is not just by using the energy that you are given within that time frame from the 25th to the 27th, but also using the energy we get today on those days. And we do that by going into these energies and maxing out the first 3 crystal refreshes per energy or whatever energy we're wanting to do. So for example, here we have normal energy. I would click on this 50 crystal refresh 3 times, essentially overloading my energy, showing about 375 here after those 3 refreshes are done, and I will stop naturally accruing energy. And that can typically be okay because the amount of extra goodies I will get by then taking the energy away from today and using it on the 25th will actually outdo the rewards I would get today, or rather it would outdo the small amount that I would accrue naturally, because that will happen once you max out that 144 number. You will stop naturally accruing energy, but again, taking that energy and using it in the future where we have extra goodies will actually yield higher benefits. But that's really what the whole spreadsheet for is to begin with. So let's go ahead and get to that. So over here we do have a few exceptions to this, and every single time we do this it's a little bit different because the characters change or the items change or the days change. And this time around, it seems to me it's pretty clear that if you do not have the characters at 7 stars, it's probably not in your best interest to hoard. I want to say that first and foremost, purely because while the characters that are available like Seer and Cal are very good, they're also very accessible, and there really isn't anything that is going to put you at a disadvantage if you get them a week or 2 later than you originally would have. What I mean by that is, in other events like these, we've gotten either Gungans or lay requirements that really would hamper your rewards in the raid that could actually have really long-term effects by not having that character as soon, especially if it was for a limited time event that would only come back 3 months later, like Jar Jar Binks. All that being said, Seer and Cal, if you get them a month from now, 2 months from now, 3 months from now, obviously sooner is better, but it's not the end of the world because what you need them for, that event is always active. The same can be said for Ninth Sister as well as Ahsoka Tano Fulcrum. Now, and on top of all that too, they're actually already accelerated, so their shards, even if these start to fall like candy, they're just not worth as much as some of the other additive drops that we have seen in the past. However, the Chirotech and Zetas are pretty much timeless, or at least for the vast majority of players. You can only use so many Seer shards. You can only use 330 really to great effect. But Chirotech do not stop at 330. They go into the thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands maybe. I don't know. I haven't actually ran the numbers on that. It's a lot. It's a big number. So with all that being said, is it worth actually taking our fleet and mod energy, hoarding it away, hampering whatever rewards we were going to get in the meantime, to just get a few Chirotech? And the answer is pretty much yes. So for every single day, which there's only 2 by the way, that you have to forego your naturally accruing energy for both fleet and cantina, you will need to start doing that as of today. You need to end today, the 22nd, with 309 energy maxed out, already stopping the accrual process at the end of tonight, falling into tomorrow, doing all your refreshes. That way, on the 24th, you will max it out completely at 1,119 because it does have that limit, and then you will be able to spend it on the 25th. The reason why we want to do that is because even if the drop rates are abysmal for Chirotech, we have seen them be really low in the past before. It does vary. The lowest we've seen so far is 1.5% per energy. Even if it is that, pretty much for every single day that you hoard away, which is really only 2 because of how the nights work, you will be getting 8 Chirotech. Those 8 Chirotech per day are worth about 234 crystals. And the amount of crystal refreshes you would have to do to make up for the energy you're losing is 200, meaning even if the Chirotech drop rates are absolute garbage at 1.5% per energy, that will feel bad, by the way. But even if it is that, you're still going to come out ahead 34 crystals a day, which I realize is really kind of pathetic. But if the Kyrotech drop rate is actually good, like 2% or 3% or 4% or higher than that, then you're profiting more than 34 crystals. So I say all that purely to get the point across. You really can't lose if we do this correctly. Your gains might be really nominal, but at the same time, it should get you somewhere. So I really am a big fan of hoarding fleet and mod energy. Again, starting today on the 22nd for 309 energy, ready to go, ready to accrue the next with your refreshes the following 2 days on the 23rd and the 24th, and then spend everything on the 25th. Now, Cantina energy becomes a lot more wishy-washy, and by that I mean we can't really buy Zetas, which is what will start to fall there, assuming you have the character for a Cantina, because we can't just go and buy them in the store. And even when we do occasionally have packs, those packs have limits to them, so it's really hard to give it an actual crystal value. That being said, guys, you're losing out on 120 energy per day that you hoard Cantina energy, because it also has a very low limit. And even if you get 1 or 2 or 3 Zetas from hoarding over these next 3 days, I feel like a Zeta is worth 120 crystals. I feel like most people would pay that in the store. If a Zeta just popped up for 120 crystals, you would probably take it. So again, we don't have the exact drop rates. 1,000 energy might get you 0, it might get you 5, it might get you 10. It's hard to say, but I would say the odds of you coming out ahead, purely because these are really not all that accessible through crystals or other crystal-like value, then yeah, you're probably going to be at a high advantage. So really, Cantina is probably the one that most people should be focusing on. I'm assuming most of you watching this right now actually have a Zeta need. Most people right now do, especially for anyone who's partaken in the Lightspeed bundles. But then again, on top of that, the overall Kyrotech nodes for both mod and fleet, being all of them, are also pretty good value. Now, I am going to harp a lot on normal energy and why you shouldn't hoard it, despite the fact that it was the example that we used at the beginning of the video, for several reasons. The problem with hoarding normal energy to get Omegas, first off, you are going to run into a raid ticket problem. There are ways around this, but quite frankly, with it being the 22nd today, you're kind of hosed. Like, you can't actually bank enough right now unless you start going to the 100s, and then all these numbers start to get really skewy. So do that if you want, but just know that I haven't run the calculations. I can't say that that's safe like I can say what we're doing with Kyrotechs is safe. So you're going to be losing on raid tickets, because I'm also assuming you're going to be doing this with Cantina, and your guild might not like that. In fact, you might not like that, because that means your raid gets run less and you get less rewards. In addition to that, if you have to hold off on farming any of your hard nodes, that's also going to delay things. So you're trading while you are getting Omegas. You're also not able to just go and farm whatever character on the hard node you're farming double the time without having to pay more in crystals. So again, you have one other thing against you. The other thing that I don't like about this is it's light side limited. I'm not sure why they did this. I don't know why it matters. But if you are wanting to get things on a dark side node, you can't do that with your hoarded energy. You are subjected only to light side. And then again, it's just a low value bottleneck. And I realize, I know there are people right now who have 100 Zeta mats but can't even spend them because they have 0 Omegas. But I'm going to have to ask you to trust me right now. The Omega bottleneck will eventually die. And unfortunately, the Zeta bottleneck for the vast majority of players stays around for a very long time. So again, do what you want. It's your game. It's your energy. It's your metrics. If you like your numbers, go ahead and hoard for Omegas if you so please. But I wouldn't recommend it for all the reasons stated. It's a lower bottleneck. You're more limited. You're giving up hard nodes. You're giving up raid tickets. There's quite frankly just a lot of issues all around. So now that we've covered, probably shouldn't do normal. You probably should be doing fleet and mod for those Kyrotechs, and you definitely should be doing Cantina for those Zetas. What days do you need to start? And we did allude to this a little bit beforehand, of the fact that you need to be starting the 22nd for the 3 energies that we are currently recommending. You need to be ending the day with 309. So you need to set that up in a way. What you probably should do is wait to the end of the day, do your 3 crystal refreshes, and then just spend down to about 309 energy. That has typically, for me, been the easiest way to do it. Now, one of the issues that you will run into on the 23rd and the 24th is when you go to do your dailies, they'll want you to be doing some Cantina, some mod, or some fleet battles to be able to get those crystals. And we don't want to lose out on those crystals because, again, that messes with this math. So one of the things that you can do is, instead of using this top table here that we currently have highlighted, is you can start to use the bottom table, because the bottom table's numbers here start to factor in doing those bare minimum nodes for fleet, mod, and canteen energy, so you can hoard for all these and get a great bang for your buck, and on top of that still hit your dailies and not be missing out on crystals in that way. So if we dig into this, what you'll end up seeing here is that we have added in our typical 309 energy for fleet, but on top of that we've added 48. That 48 will allow us to do our 3 runs for, I think, 8 energy on both the 23rd and the 24th, and we were still ending that final day with 1,119. So again, if you didn't really understand anything, to summarize this video, you need to be ending today the 22nd, or you want to be ending today the 22nd, with your fleet, your mod, and your cantina energy ending with these numbers, so that tomorrow you can go in, do your bare minimum dailies, refresh 3 times, and that day with this, repeat the same process on the 24th, end with roughly this number, hit the 25th, and spend all the energy you've hoarded and get all the things that you would have typically gotten, and on top of that, get some extra Zetas and Chirotechs to go along with it. So that is going to be it for today's video. Let me know if you have any questions as always. Thanks for watching, and stay awesome.